Welcome back, everyone, to Premier Hoops Weekly, the show that's all about overseas basketball. Today, we're joined by none other than Mr. Julian Wright. Julian, how you feeling, man?
I'm blessed. I'm doing well. Thanks for having me today.
Julian, first question we want to know, everybody, we're all locked down. So it's a serious part of the show we have to address during quarantine. What show are you binging on? What's your Netflix fix?
I can't say it's a fix, but it's just whatever my kids are watching. It seems like they're the ones binging on Sonic and Carmen Sandiego. So, I mean, whatever they're watching, I guess I'm watching too.
You won't be putting up Ozark. You're not going to be putting up any MA film show. Okay. See, we got children.
Right.
Now, Julian, before we get into the basketball, you held the title of Mr. Basketball Illinois. We want to know, take us back to the very first time, Julian, the very first time you figured out you're a problem. When is the first time, middle school, high school, or college, when somebody said, hey, look, whose man is that? Look, somebody put two on him. Yo, who got him? What's the story?
Okay. I'd say it didn't really hit me until I'd say it didn't hit me until my junior year. Our team went downstate. We actually lost to Sean Livingston's team. So like that, he pretty much took away my state championship, and then he went on to win some more championships. So good for him. But that was the time where I felt like, you know what, it didn't hit me till after the playoff, because at that moment you're just young, you're just like, oh, we're on the run, and I said, hey, hold on, like we actually did something good, and I took that confidence into my AAU season in going into my senior year, and that was pretty much, I went from like top 25, top 20 to like top 8 in the country. Like I had a really good summer, so like AAU was like, that was my coming out party, I feel like, and then after that I just kind of coasted my senior year. I kind of like felt like, well, I did a lot in the summer. Like we won Nike Peach Jam, we were like placing high in all the tournaments, and I was playing like, I was pretty much being like a player that hasn't really like a positionless player, because I played point guard in high school, and then I was playing power forward in AAU. So I was just get the rebound, take it coast to coast, around the back pass, coast to coast dunks, dribble pull up. I was just doing all that, and I didn't think about it much until, like I said, that summer going to senior. I said, okay, all right, I think I got a good shot to definitely be a McDonald's All-American, all that stuff.
But Julian, how do you get to the point where you get the title, Mr. Basketball Illinois? How does that happen?
Well, yeah, that was my senior. So my junior year, that's pretty much gave me, I felt like, I did so much my junior. My senior was like, as long as I just don't play really bad, I still have a good chance to be Mr. Illinois. My senior year, we beat Oak Hill with a young Kevin Durant, young Ty Lawson. They had a shooter, Casey Rivers. He was hurt though. They had some other guys. So our team was just basically most of the guys from our neighborhood just pretty much grew up together, and like that was really, I think it was just the way that, like I didn't play point as much as a senior because we had some other guys, so I was playing like a small forward, like power forward. So I thought it was just a really unique experience. I think for the writers and people who voted, they saw like my growth in playing and play different positions. And I felt like my stats weren't ever a big thing. I averaged 14 points, 9 rebounds, 6, but I averaged 6 assists my senior year. So those aren't eye-popping numbers for me, Mr. Illinois, or for McDonald's All-American. But I felt that they did it right this time by looking at my body of work, not just like the stats. And I feel like that's always been something that stuck with me my whole life.
Julian, would you please describe Chicago Heights?
Okay. It's about 20 minutes south of Chicago, the south side of Chicago. It's the south suburb. It's not the roughest neighborhood, but it's also not, it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood either every day. So it was like, it gave me a good balance without having to deal with, either situation. I kind of appreciate my upbringing. A lot of people, want to feel like, oh, they're tougher because they're from the city, but I came from a situation where my dad and mother were separated before I got married, before I was born and everything. And so I would spend time in the city as well with my dad. So I feel like I got a good glimpse of a good mixture of both at the park in the city, Chicago. And I feel like I was already tough. So I came out to the suburbs to play basketball. It didn't matter whether I was playing against people in the city or not. It was just like I was just going to be a dog.
But you left Chicago and you went to Kansas. How did Kansas land you?
Yeah. It's not as far as it seems. It's about an 8-hour drive. It's just it's just middle of America basically. How I got there was basically Coach Bill Self. He was coaching at University of Illinois Champaign actually when he was recruiting me, and so I already was familiar with him. Yeah, and so when he took the job, my junior year and when his first year at Kansas, they were recruiting me and everything, and it makes sense to keep it on the list, but I wasn't really saying I was for sure going to sign there. Long story short, Coach Self had like some surgery, something bothering him, and then like one of the people who were recruiting me, Norm Roberts, took the job at St. John's, so nobody was recruiting me. That same off season going to my senior, where I was popping, and so basically, long story short, they came on a house visit, and they basically apologized for that, and they just I felt like low key they were always my number one choice, even though I still want to keep it open. So I just said I want to focus on my senior year, enjoy it. I don't want to be part, all these questions. And I thought it was the best decision for me. So that's how I ended up at KU.
How did Bill Self and that Kansas program, how did it prepare you for the NBA? Because you were once on the cover of Sports Illustrated, Kansas outfit. You got Mario Chalmers peeking out from behind you. You got the ball. Right. How did that prepare you for the L?
Well, I would say first off, the expectations are really high, because it's like in the NBA, there's those major markets like the Knicks, you got Philly, you got Lakers, of course, you got the Bulls. You have these big markets where you come there, you got to produce, you got to come out there and play. That's what money involves. So, but even without money being involved as an amateur, that's all they have in Kansas is basketball. Like when you think KU, you think basketball, or you think Kansas, like the state of Kansas. So for me, it's like I learned already kind of like professionalism, regardless of like not having a pro schedule. And so I think the toughness really helped in terms of that, because I was just coming into an environment with a lot of other young players, young teammates, and I think he just got us in early and made sure we knew we need to be about business, be business-like, even if we're not pros. So I really think that really molded me to the player I am today.
Well, how about the businessman that you are today? What was your major, and how did that set you up to start thinking business? Or did you start planning this after you started your professional career?
Well, so interesting story. I haven't finished and got my degree yet, but my major is communication studies, and then a minor is in psychology. So I actually was on track to graduate this year. I went back to school in 2018. And so I would just say that as I continue to finish my degree, this, COVID-19 thing, I didn't want to do a virtual graduation. So I'm basically just going to graduate next year. So I didn't do all this just to be like, yay, you know what I'm saying? So right. Basically, even though I haven't gotten a degree, I've gotten a lot of experience, living in different countries, playing internationally. Even when I was in the NBA for 1 year, I was with Toronto Raptors. That was my first time really kind of not taking everything from the book to like in real life, interpersonal communication, intercultural communication. So for me, I felt comfortable when I eventually took my career overseas to really just get immersed in different cultures, things like that. And I really felt like that's given me the confidence to be able to network and talk to people of different backgrounds and feel comfortable. And even though I don't have my own culture, but I can be competent enough to communicate and just find common goals.
Yeah, but Julian, you were taken 13 in 07, and you went to New Orleans Hornets. Would you please share with us just one Hey Rook story?
Okay. So, I had a lot of energy, so it wasn't a big deal, but it's just thinking about also as the older players, they didn't maybe have as much energy. Like they've played 10 years in the league, it's not a lot. So, it's a lot on them. So for me, I wasn't thinking about it, but a lot of times they ask me like, go to Starbucks, give them some in the morning. So they just want to go straight on the bus, go to shoot around. They don't want to go do an extra walking. So I'm going to Starbucks. Paige Stoyakovich, one time I was in New York City, he wanted me to go to Apple Store and buy him a MacBook. so I was standing in line, you know, waiting for a MacBook. We got a game like 5 hours later. So it was just stuff like that. You know, they're playing 30 minutes. You know, they're like, look, but I need a new MacBook. So hey, Brooke, go to Apple Store and give me a MacBook. It's just stuff like that. You know, I think they took. You know, they were good vets. You know, they would sometimes, you know, tip, or they'll just, you know, kind of look out in other ways, but, you know, just with advice and different things like that. But when it, you know, it came to like things like that, or and then in every practice day, the shooting around, I had to go to Krispy Kreme and get 2 dozen of donuts.
A MacBook.
Yep. It's crazy.
You're in New York City. You got a game in a few hours. You're standing in line because you have to buy a MacBook.
Exactly.
Okay, so you said they would give you advice. Name one person you went to for advice.
It was by committee, because I had a lot of vets. Like I say, like Chris Paul was like a vet at that point. He was his 3rd year, but where he carried himself, he was like a consummate professional. Right. So, you know, like just starting there. But after that, it was like David West, Tyson Chandler, Bobby Jackson, who got traded, but then Bonzi Wells came. Gennaro Pargo, Ryan Bowen, who's with the Nuggets. This is my rookie year. Melvin Eli. I mean, you talking about like vets, So like a lot of times it was like on a flight. You know, we just talking. Even the next year, I had Sean Marks, James Posey. You know, I'm just having. You know, I had Devin Brown. So like, you know, Sean Marks was the GM now of the Nets. So it's like I had a lot of that wisdom around me. A lot of times we were like going out to eat and things like that, and just talking about life. You know, even with like businesses, and it was just how to carry yourself. You know, kind of joking on me with the baggy jeans and, you know, all that stuff. I was still in that phase. You know, wearing the big old polos and all that. It was like, man, you gotta get some tailored clothes, stuff like that.
That was in. That was in.
Yep. Changed the dress code like 2 years, you know, after that brawl. So you just basically can get away with it with some Air Force Ones, some baggy jeans, and a big old polo, and a big old New Era hat. That was it. Hey, I'm aging myself right now. I know.
The baggy jeans, and the oversized polo shirt.
2007. That was still in. You're right.
Wow.
That was still in.
Wow.
That was still in.
Okay. Now, you finished playing in the NBA, and we're going to play audience members of Premier Hoops Weekly. We're going to add a new segment here. We're going to play trivia with our guest, Mr. Julian Wright. Julian, I'm going to give you 30 seconds, and I'm going to see if you can list all of the stops you made when you went overseas, because you basically took your profession to see the entire world. Let's see in 30 seconds if you can name all of your stops. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, we're going to start now.
Okay, so I was in Israel, in Rishon LeZion, and then I went to Russia. Samara is the city. And then I went to Greece, Athens. Then I went back to Israel, another city, Herzliya. Then I went to San Juan, Puerto Rico. Then I went to Trento, Italy. Then I went to Trabzon, Turkey. Then Reggio Emilia, Italy. Paris, France. And then Tianjin, China.
Good gosh, man. Under 30 seconds.
All right.
Boom. Yo, you've seen, like, where do you start when you tell your children about everything you've seen all over the world? Like, how do you even convey so many experiences?
Well, they spent some time overseas and sometimes in the States, but most of it was overseas. My wife was pregnant, one of my kids, and then another one was born overseas in Athens. So I got a Greek baby. Yeah, so, you know, like they'll have those pictures. They're younger. My daughter, she's a tween, so she was able to kind of take in a lot of it. But I think it's one of those things. I think it won't hit them until they're older, when they're studying abroad, and there's all these other things that might deter them from doing those type of things. They've been around the world, they've seen things, and I hope to take other vacations as well. So, yeah.
Julian, you have to take us through this, because we hear about the overseas basketball player like you who just flourishes once he gets that passport and he's gone. You just named 10 stops. Will you just take us through it from the perspective of Julian Wright, not basketball player, Julian Wright, married, family man? How does that happen? Like, hey, honey, so we're about to go to Turkey. Like, we're going where? Like, how does that process work for you?
Well, we tried our best to look at the option that will allow us to be overseas together. It's at times that it didn't work out based on certain things, but it can be. I'll be honest, it's not the easiest decision to make when you have a couple of options. Maybe you had a dream city, but that they didn't come calling that summer. Like the major city, because it's most of the time like we're looking for it to be in major cities, but at the same time, like those bills are saying, I don't care. Like, you better find you a job that works. So it's kind of one of those things where like a lot of decisions weren't necessarily always money based, but it was like, if we can, let's try to put ourselves in a situation where it's going to be a good, hopefully a pleasant experience. So we're still over there for 9 months. That's not 9 months. And doing that 7, 8 years, that can be a lot of time, out of our family. So, a lot of times we would research the city and try to get as much information, track down players who played there, and try to make the best decision we could.
But Julian, how do you still find time to play in the Big Three? How do you fit that in your schedule?
So I'll just go ahead and let it be known. I've officially retired from 5-on-5, like up and down playing. Just want, because we can talk about it at some point. But I'm focusing on my business, everything. So Big Three is a perfect thing. That's also a factor into my decision. I feel like I can still keep my competitive juices going with that. It's a respected league. There's a lot of toughness in it, and I can do that in the summer, so I can get those competitive juices out when I need to. And keep up my business.
You just gave us a breaking story. Could you please tell? We just got to break a story. Premier Hoops Weekly fans, we just got breaking news here. Julian Wright just said you retired from playing 5-on-5.
Yep, professionally. I'm retired as of now. I'm happily retired because I know the transition is needed, and I want to be an able body. Maybe I try to stretch it out for 1 or 2 more years, and then it could be where now I'm not enjoying the rest of my post career. So I figure I can still be around the game. I'll have my own facility. I can get shots, but I can still play, pick up games. I can do Big Three, and my family, we're out in the States speaking English and just going over our life.
Julian, you just got back from China, yesterday? and you're saying that's it. So Julian, are you sure, like, if they call you in another few months and they say, hey, we're back to sports, and you got to tell us, man, if they say, hey, Julian, can you just give us one more season?
I can't say that. Obviously people do come out of retirement, but at this point, like, I'm not focused on just what can I do? Because it's my motivation is not there in the sense of, like, it would just be like a farewell type thing, like a farewell tour type thing. Like, it wouldn't be like, am I really helping the team? Like, it'll just be like, I'm just going to play, get my shots up. Like, am I really trying to win? Because I'm not going to try to sign and just be a super team player either. Like, yeah, I'm going to just come out here and just, you know what I mean? Like, I'm going to go out there shooting, and then what's that? What message that send? So that's how I feel right now.
Okay, now, yeah. So what was your wife's reaction when you told her, hey, honey, I'm done? That's it. What was her reaction?
Probably don't believe me. So, that's fine. Because, And that's fine because I think it's like this. No, for real, because I'm not, there's been no serious injuries for me. There's been nothing that is physically stopping me.
Right.
I've had some contractual issues that kind of stopped me from playing the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I think that once my business is going and I have a lot of things going, maybe 2-3 years from now, maybe I will take a 2-month season or something like that. But when I say retired, it's because I'm not taking jobs. Like it's not anytime soon. And I say 2-3 years. That's just indefinite. Like, it's all indefinite. But I'm saying I officially retired because I'm not looking for employment now or next year. And like I said, maybe not even 2 years from now.
So Julian, so that means everything, the whole vision of the big three. So that means it's true. This is for guys who want to enjoy the competitive nature of basketball without as much as the wear and tear. So you're saying the floor is bigger, it is easier because you're saying, hey, I'm retired from 5-for-5, but you're saying, hey, my body's still good for 3-on-3. Now, why is that?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's definitely a different type of grind, because it's more physical, and it's 3-on-3, and it's like you're exposed. You got to play defense. Like it's no like, oh, help, like who's helping you? Like you ain't getting that much help. So and it's a quick closeout. They get the rebound and pass the 3-point line. That's quicker than running down the court. So it has its own type of grind, but it's still only once a week. You know what I mean? So that's why it's fun to get out there. I think that's why it's so competitive. Like people love football. They just go out there one time a week and just give them their 100%. And I feel like that's something that why they have a great brand for the summer. Give people what they're looking for, just carry over to the NBA season, but still be a respected league.
Now, in the meantime, we're looking at your shirt right now. It says Adapt Basketball, and you're in a business mind now. So you have an academy. Will you please tell us where can we find this academy? Tell us the Instagram handle, and please explain it to us.
Okay. Well, first off, you can find me on IG, Instagram, Julian Wright _Adapt Basketball. So it's as easy as that. And then you can find more information on the website, which is www.adaptbasketball.com. From there, it'll just take you where you're looking for. So ADAPT stands for Athletic Development and All-Purpose Training. So essentially, that's the athletic development is like sport performance. How to get yourself ready for games, post recovery, pre-game, ladder speed, agility, core, injury prevention, that type of regimen. And then all-purpose training deals with multi-skills. Because I want to empower the next generation of positionless players. That's what they're seeing on TV. I need to be able to help cross that bridge. In my life, my career has been all the athletic development, all-purpose training, being trained by the best trainers, playing in the NBA, seeing what it takes, and then me personally playing multiple positions. So I can demonstrate any drill that anyone can like name up. Like if it's a fadeaway, if it's a hook shot, if it's pick and roll, it's a read, if it's alley-oop, if it's rebounding, if it's a drop step, if it's an up and under, whatever, it's a floater, left hand finish, right hand finish, step back, whatever it is that I'm coaching, I can demonstrate. So that's my asset, where there can be other trainers and nothing against them, but I'm stopping my career also so I can now give back for, God willing, 10, 15 years of able body, where I don't have to worry about 3-4 games in 1 week. Like I can recover at my own pace. I can give my all doing these workouts and make sure they're getting quality instruction. So, that's what I'll be doing online mostly for now, but I was going to do it anyways. I have my Carolina Academy, but I'm going to have an online academy that also follows that same regimen, but they'll have basic DIY workouts that'll be prepared weekly, and then we'll do bi-weekly live classes specifically for people in the academy so we can do active coaching through video conferencing software.
Wow. What kind of coach are you, Julian?
I'd say I'm a coach. I think I'm someone who I want to be able to give people some information outside of just the X's and O's as well. I want to be able to break down the game, not just play development, but kind of like those coaches who could become head coaches, but they did athletic development and all-purpose training beforehand. That's my terminology, but they were kind of around it. So I want to be like that because that's why I don't want to be like a regular coach, for a team. I feel like I'm able to, again, adapt. I mean, it's pun intended. That's just what my business is about, is be able to show people, hey, whatever you're looking for, I hope to be a resource in some way. If not, I have enough networks of people, players and former players, coaches, people I play with and against. Hey, I can try to get those answers to you. And that's why I feel like, that's why I'm going to kind of be that resource that really is not really available on a yearly basis, for children throughout the world.
What is it that you get out of coaching that you don't get from playing the game?
I feel like I've done coach camps and clinics, as a pro, but it's short lived, and I can feel good about it. And those things also help, get me to this point. I did experience those, but those are like an hour clinic, and then you sign some autographs, you're on your way. Like, it's a lot of glitz and glamour with it. I'm all for, like, let's get in these trenches and learn the game. Let me teach you. And I've seen the growth in clients I've already had here in the Charlotte area, and that's what brought me the joy. Just seeing, like, going to a game and seeing that, oh, they're getting better. And it's not necessarily only me. It's by committee, but just knowing that I've had a part of it, I don't need to, like, raise my hand like, yeah, I did that. But internally, I'm like, wow, like, because they listen, though. I mean, I want to be able to communicate, because I want to basically give myself feedback. Am I communicating with them? Am I getting the points across the right way?
Uh-huh.
So that's what I really like about the coaching, is seeing that they're bold enough and empowering them to, like, go test their limits. You know what I mean? So that's what I love about it. As a player, I don't think it's the same, because, like, I already kind of know my limitations, or a role is given them. The sky's the limit for them. So they're just a sponge, and I love the fact they just take in everything, and they're not worried about playing time. They're not worried about how much you're getting paid. They don't have all those real worries, and they can get better without all that. So if they do get to a point where they're collegiate, a pro, whatever, like, they already just built up a lot of skills.
Wow. Okay. Have you come across a case yet where you've been working with one of the players in your academy? You said, man, you remind me of myself, man. Let me explain. Let me share a story. Has that happened to you yet?
No, not yet. As a startup, I don't have as many clients as yet, a lot of prospects. With this situation, I have to kind of push my grand opening back. So I've got to kind of I've been trying to just make sure I have the business model in place and have everything in line. Mm-hmm. So I can't say that I have that moment, but I hope that I have a lot of those moments, because I want to train them all to be, all purpose, be able to be multi-skilled. So I think it'll make sure over time with the people who trust in the process of me training them, to get to that point.
Last two questions. You give the rock to your children yet?
Yeah, I haven't forced it, So I mean, my son, my wife just bought a Fisher Price rim, so my sons are dunking on it and stuff like that. It's funny to see them doing that, because it's like they couldn't do it because there was never a rim in their height. So seeing them dunk the ball is definitely funny. It's cute. But yeah, I won't force it on them. My daughter, she did it a little bit, like rec league, just to get her feet wet with it. I'm not forcing basketball on them. They've seen me doing enough. If it interests them, I'm here. I have a facility. They can obviously get better, but I'm not. As long as they're active, they're not going to be at home just playing video games and on their phone. Like, if it's soccer, if it's swimming, if it's debate, chess team, I don't care. Whatever the case is, do something.
Preach that, Father. Preach that. Yeah. Last question. You're in a Big 3 game, and it's 2 seconds. You launch it, game winner, bam. You pointing to the name on the front of the jersey or the name on the back?
I was pointing to the front. I think those are the moments. If you ever see, not that I'm expecting to or wanting to, but if you ever see clips, I'm always popping the front of the jersey. Just looking like, more to get the fans involved in anything like that. And so that's kind of what I would do that, because I think, like, the Big 3 start, like, there's actually, even though there's a little change up with different captains and co-captains, like, I'm starting to see, like, on social media, like, people are really, like, going for certain teams. So I'm liking that. It's kind of like WWE, like, people start following certain wrestlers. I feel like, it's not like a whole team, a city against a city, but I think that's what I like about Big 3. People are starting to get attached to certain players and certain teams and things like that. So that's what I look forward to. I don't know who I'll be drafted by because I got to go back into the draft. So I'm available and I got a gym. So if you're talking about somebody in shape and ready, hey, that should be me.
You have
put
to
that
go
plug
back.
out there for myself.
You have to go back in the draft.
Yeah, so some people are like captains or co-captains,
Right?
And they're guaranteed a spot. But so basically, the winning team, the one who wins it all, they keep the same roster, so none of them have to worry about getting drafted. Everybody else, if they're not a captain or co-captain, it's basically 3 players on each team that are safe, and then 3 players they have to draft for each team. So I gotta go back in the draft. So I like my chances, but I don't want to be overconfident. But hey, I got my own gym. I'm getting all type of shot stuff.
Without telling us, do you have a preference for which Big 3 team selects you?
I'm wide open, but I would honestly like to go run back with power and make a run, just because there was a lot of injuries last year, and I felt like I feel like it's barbershop talk. Like, we have injuries, we don't want. Like, Birdman goes down, tears the ACL. Right. He's one of the best defense anchor. Right. Katina Mobley, comes down, tears his quad, best scorer. It's like it's a game to 50. So you need enough defense, enough offense, and I feel like we did as much as we could, but it was just not enough with the chemistry they already had. Those are 2 players that already played with Coach Nancy, things like that. And I felt like I was just added to it, that spark off the bench. And so I felt like that was a sour taste in my mouth. And so I've already let it be known to the coach and coaching staff. I call them all the coaching staff as player coaches. Let them know, hey, look, I'm available. But obviously it's a business, just like this happens in free agency. Like, I would just be thankful to help any team, but I would like to start, finish the work that I feel like could have been completed last year.
And what are you doing to stay in shape?
For now, I'm doing live classes on weekends right now. I'm outside like everybody else. It's my facility is finished. It's almost finished in about 2 weeks. I had to go back and finish some things up in there. So I'm outside just getting some work in. But it's going to increase when I get inside my facility. I don't have to worry about the rain or this or that. I have climate control. I can get some work in. So by the time the Big 3 starts in June, I'm in decent shape. I was just in China, so basically by the time, if I were to get drafted and get to playing in the middle of June, oh man, I'll be a problem for sure for people.
That has to be an advantage to join the Big 3 after just playing professionally overseas.
Yeah. So that's basically how I think it makes sense to the guys. You got to be in some shape though. It's not one up and down, but you don't want to sluggish. And I wasn't in the best shape last year because I was so busy getting my business started. I was still trying to figure out where I was going to set up shop and lease and from here and there. I was really busy. So I was just thankful to be able to contribute how I was, but I felt like I was still a shell of what I could be. So having played in China and came back and just kind of active already, I feel like it'll be a great momentum for that time period.
So we have a bunch to look forward to. We appreciate everyone joining us here for this week's Premier Hoops Weekly episode. Now, we need to know, one more time, where we can find Adapt Academy basketball. Please give us the handle. Please tell us where we can go.
All right, make it simple. Julian Wright, Julian WRIGHT _ Adapt Basketball, ADAPT Basketball. That's my Instagram. I have a website that you can look at easy. Also, www.adaptbasketball.com. And from there, just look around. We have what's called Adapt Basketball TV, and that's where we have a lot of our operations, and that's where you find the online academy. So we can mix a lot of the working out DIY, but also some live streams and webinars, and hopefully, different guests to come on as well, offer their perspective.
You heard it here first, folks. I'm Dr. Shabazz. This is Premier Hoops Weekly. You heard it from Julian Wright, and you got the whole scoop. Julian, we appreciate your time.
Dr. Shabazz, I appreciate you having me.
We look forward to seeing you in June, hopefully, when sports are back. Hopefully, sports are back soon on the Big 3 floor. And until then, thank you so much for joining us here at Premier Hoops Weekly. Big shout out to the founder, Michael Chamberlain, for putting this all together, and we'll see you at the next episode.